AllBall TV.
They scared, but I'm not.
They don't like comentario.
Y suscribe.
Ring culture. Pretty sure you guys heard the topic of discussion. You guys know how I feel about this. But let's hear what LeBron has to say about what does he feel about ring culture.
It's funny, yeah, I don't know. I don't know why it's discussed so much in our sport and why it's the A-all, B-all of everything. You sit here and tell me, you know, Allen Iverson and Charles Barkley and Steve Nash, you know, are fucking wasn't unbelievable. Like, oh, they can't be talked about or discussed with these guys is because this guy won one ring or won two rings or one, like, it's just weird to me. It's like saying Peyton Manning can't be in the same room with Brady or Mahomes because he only has one ring. They don't never discuss that in their sport.
Right.
Or telling me that Dan Marino is not the greatest slinger of all time, or he can't be in the room with those guys because he didn't win a championship. They don't discuss those things, you know. I don't know. Did Barry Bonds win a World Series?
No. Go.
I don't think so.
Balco Bonds. Go.
I don't think so. Barry Bonds never won a World Series, and you can't sit here and tell me that he's not the greatest baseball player to ever touch a bat. I mean, Jerry West, I think, went to like 9 straight NBA finals.
Right.
And was only able to win one. Right. And he's the logo of our league. Yeah. So you can't sit here and tell me that, okay, well, because he only won one, the guy can't be in the same room with the guy who won 2 or 3 or 4. Like, why not? This guy, he's our logo.
Mind the game is trash. Oh, ball. This is what we always butt heads. Ring culture. He's so against it. But let's not forget, he went to Miami for what? He came back to Cleveland for what? He went to the Lakers to win what? Oh, ball. What do you think about ring culture and LeBron's new point of view about ring culture?
This is why I don't like him. This is exactly why. This is why I'm not a fan of him, and I'll never be a fan. No, you know why? And all his co-hosts, go to hell. Y'all glaze him so much, y'all don't have no pushback. Nigga, Steve Nash will say himself, I can't be in the same talks as Magic in them. You fucking right. You ain't got no rings, nigga. What are we talking about? Allen Iverson, Barkley will tell you himself. No, I don't belong in a conversation of the talks with the great Tim Duncans and the Magics and the this and that because I didn't win. These players would say that. The fuck are you talking about? Yo, this is what gets me mad. I understand sometimes the ring culture gets blown out of proportion and it gets exaggerated, and I'm one of the guys that does that. Okay, I can admit that. Who cares? Right? Because sometimes it's fun. But let's be realistic. You cannot compare, I don't care how great you were. We cannot say Charles Barkley was ever on Tim Duncan's level if Tim Duncan has 5 fucking championships and Barkley has none. Barkley would tell you that. We're not saying the guys that didn't win wasn't great. We're not saying Barkley wasn't a hell of a player. Some of us still say Barkley is one of the greatest power forwards we have ever seen. But big shout out my guy BC. He said when it's time to sit at some of these tables, Barkley, you just can't sit at the table. You could be in the room, but you can't sit at the table if Hakeem and Garnett and Dirk and Tim Duncan is sitting there. Sorry. You just can't. To me, that's not ring culture. That's sports. That's sports. We never said Dan Marino couldn't sling that thing. We never said Dan Marino isn't considered one of the greatest to ever throw the football. But when it comes to being the greatest football player ever, you can't sit with Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. They won. They won. And he lied. Peyton does sit at that table. Peyton has 2 championships. Peyton has 2 Super Bowls. So you lying right in our face. Listen, I don't know how people deal with him and put up with him when it comes to talking because he's full of shit. And this is why I'm not a fan of him. Because he's dead wrong. The reason why he knows he's not the GOAT is because Mike got 6. We all know that. You short. We all know that. Jerry West, God rest his soul, great. Nobody never said Jerry West wasn't great. But why he isn't considered one of the GOATs? Because you have one and his guys with 4, 5, and 6. Come on, so for me, the ring culture thing, I get it, but I think it's two separate conversations. You don't have to have a championship to be great. You could never diminish what somebody has done in their profession. I can never sit up here and say Allen Iverson wasn't great because he didn't have a championship. But when we talk about the greatest, remember, Flea, we used to have Allen. Some of us have Allen Iverson in our top 5 greatest shooting guards all time. It can be an argument, but some guys argue that he didn't win. If you talk about greatest power forwards of all time, we mentioned Charles Barkley. He didn't win. So the ring culture thing to me is just, it's a different conversation. We get carried away with it. I know I do. I can agree, but it's fun. But what LeBron just did, he plays. That's why that podcast title is perfect. Mind the game, because you play with people's minds. You ain't gonna play with my mind. I'll be 48 years old, nigga. My brain is fully functioned. You ain't gonna rock me. You can't be slick with me, nigga. You just sat up there and lied to everybody. And I'm gonna leave with this note. Steve Nash, you raise your hand. Why? Bruh, you would say it yourself. John Stockton was saying himself, yeah, I'm great, but I can't be in the same breath as the Currys and the Magics and the Isaiahs. They won. Flea, the players would say that. I've heard Reggie Miller say that. Bro, these guys won. I didn't win. I didn't win. So for me, don't try to put people that didn't win in the same category with people that won when it comes to certain conversations. Like I said, the Robert Horry thing, he never was the guy. He was a role play guy that was great at his role, but he won 7 championships. We're not going to put him in the same category as the Kobe's, the Mikes, the Brons because he wasn't the guy. We talk about the guys that were the guy. Why is it a problem for me to say Garnett is better than Barkley? Garnett won. He won. It doesn't mean Barkley isn't great. So for me, Braun is full of shit. This is why I'm not a fan of him. And for me, he just lied to our face on YouTube. And it's just insane that sometimes people defend what he says because he know damn well in his mind, for him to be the GOAT, you have to have championships. Fuck anything else, Flea. To be considered the GOAT. Kobe, God rest his soul, Mike, Magic, Akeem, Duncan, LeBron, these guys are considered in that GOAT conversation. Why? Because they won multiple championships. That has always been the discussion before we was born. And it's going to be the discussion when we not on this earth 200,000-300,000 years later. They're going to say certain guys are considered great or the GOAT because they won. So for me, LeBron is just trying to spin something, but you can't spin all on ball because I'm the spin master, baby. You can't get me. Nah, so listen, man, this is why I'm not a fan of him, Flea. I'm sorry. Great basketball player, but he plays too many games. And for me, you ain't going to play with my mind mind the game. Mind your fucking business when it comes to some conversations.
I mean, I think both parties are right? I think
Oh, no. When you say, hold on, when you say both parties,
you are the second party. Both parties is two. So that you are right. God damn.
Oh, hold on. I'm 2 for 2 today. He agreed with me earlier, and he agreed with me again. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
Listen.
I don't mean to cut you off, but that's a moment for me. Go ahead.
Nah. You both parties are right? I think the narrative that he's trying to push right now is factual, right? The ring culture shit is a little weird, right? It's taking on a life of its own, and I got thoughts on that in a minute. But why I feel like you're right though, OG, is that he's added to that. Like he has added to that conversation. He understands that to be in the conversation, to be one of the greatest of all time, like the best of the best, you got to be a guy that has hardware. You got to be a guy that wins championships. The guy that you compare yourself to, the guys that you looked up to, the people that you felt like were the predecessors of this game we're all in it to win championships and multiple, right? Because once you get one, you want to get another, right? And so I just think that he needs to acknowledge that, well, maybe my views have changed, or maybe I have evolved a little bit. Recognize what you stood on when you was up there cheesing with the not one, not two, not three, not four. Recognize all of that so you can at least be honest with us niggas. Because like you said, you can't fool us. You could spin Steve Nash because he wants to be there sitting in front of you. You could spin all these other niggas that don't really watch it, that, like you said, King's Speech casuals. Yes, you could spin all them niggas, but you're not going to spin us and act like you did not contribute to that conversation. So to come back now and try to soften it and say that ring culture is toxic and it's crazy, you are a part of that. You are a part of that. What you're saying is right. We need to start being able to evaluate an individual talent without talking about, team things. Winning the ring is a team thing, right? But at the same time, too, let's not act like basketball. When we're talking about a team sport, basketball is one of the only sports that one guy could swing everything. One guy could swing a whole shit. One guy walks through the door and you a championship level team. You heard what I said, y'all? When one guy swings it, it becomes a champion. So right there, it's about championships, bro. It's about winning at the highest level. But on the other side of it, too, I am a big fan of the nuance of everything. Having a conversation about being to evaluate who was better, Dream or Duncan. Not who's your favorite, who was better. And not because Duncan had 5 rings and Dream only got 2. I think that's a conversation that we can have, right? I think if you want to start talking about, well, who was better, Duncan or KG, valid conversations, right? Like, these are guys, like, we comparing champions to champions, but at the same time, I don't think it's wrong to say, hey, Malone and Barkley could compare to KG and Tim Duncan. Both guys are champions, right? And the other set is not. But to say that these guys wasn't great and they can't sit at the table and talk and understand that, guess what? I was just as good as you. You happen to be a champion. You happen to be a champion, but I was just as good as you. We can have conversations. I think that's, for me, I go the other way. I don't think that there's levels, but don't disrespect these greats because they didn't have the opportunity, to win a championship. There's 2 extreme sides to this argument that I think that both sides are extremely fair.
Can I just one thing, and I'll let Fabian rock just 30 seconds because I don't want to forget. The only reason why I got upset is because what LeBron just did is a bold-faced lie. Because think about this. When we talk about top 10 greatest power forwards of all time, we mention Barkley and Karl Malone all the time. We have John Stockton in our top 5. Some people have John Stockton in their top 5 greatest point guards of all time. He didn't win a championship. A lot of guys call Chris Paul the point guard. He didn't win a championship. But we have these guys, when we talk about top 5, top 10 of all time, there are guys that didn't win that are mentioned repeatedly, that we fight, argue about all the time. So don't tell me the ring culture thing, because there are guys that are mentioned that never won. So for me, that I just wanted to make that point. I just didn't want to forget it.
Another top 5, probably the second best greatest point guard of all time. I'm biased. It's Jason Kidd. He won a ring with Dallas, but that was the end of his career where he changed his whole game up and I actually was able to hit 3-point shots and gain a jump shot that he never had in his career. And I never needed him to win a ring to say, yeah, outside of Magic, I'm taking Jason Kidd. And even if you got Magic when we start on the team, and that I'm taking him as my point guard. Not Isaiah, not Chris Paul. I don't care who you throw out there. I'm putting Jason Kidd in there. I don't need him to win a ring to show me that he D'd up and he was running the point as good as anybody ever did. So I've always hated this. I've never liked the ring culture thing. And the Michael Jordan, they made it about him. They used that 6-0, undefeated, and LeBron is right today, but he's been wrong. And he was the one who pushed this because he saw Kobe win 5 rings and how popular he was in China. And the ring culture thing, if it's so fitting, because it's a ring, it's jewelry, it's materialistic, it's groupie shit. It's like a gold chain, nice car. That's what it is to me. I don't need the accolades. I'm watching the game. Kevin Garnett, y'all brought him up. Another prime example. If he gets drafted by the Spurs, this whole thing changes up. You talking about Tim Duncan, this and that. Okay, we got him as the greatest power forward of all time. He got drafted and was playing next to David Robinson. Then he get drafted Manu Ginobili. Tony Parker had Steven Jackson there. Then they drafted Kawhi Leonard. Who had that on their side while they were playing the game? That's the part that I don't understand. I don't like it because it's a lazy argument to me. What does that mean? Michael Jordan was 6-0 in the 90s. Doing that shit in the 80s at all. And he couldn't do it. How about that? If there's no Scotty, no Horace Grant, that team wasn't there, he wouldn't have won. He was known as a loser. Yo, yeah, you nice and all that, but can you win? Huh? You don't think that guy could win? It's just a stupid thing that we use because it's the easiest way to drive the game. That's just what we're human. We're just simple creatures. But LeBron messed up because of what he's saying right now. You should have been said that. You should have been said, yo, it ain't about winning the rings. It's about, I want a better situation for me so that we can compete every year. I didn't have a chance to compete over there because that team was trash. You saw how the owner trashed me when I left. That's what I was dealing with. An incompetent owner who couldn't have the right general manager to get the right players around me so we can compete every year like Jordan did. Jerry Krause is not getting enough credit for putting that team together. Popovich does not get enough credit for putting that team together with the Spurs. Bob Myers doesn't even get enough credit for these Warriors. They keep trying to say Mark Jackson did it. Like, I just never liked it. I always thought it was lazy. Garnett, if I didn't finish that argument, is the prime example. What they did with the Joe Smith deal to try to give him money under the table, and they suspended all those draft picks from Minnesota, and Minnesota was terrible. Garnett had him in playoff contention. And then he gets traded to the Celtics with Ray Allen, and now you telling me he's in a conversation with Tim Duncan? Actually, he's not. I saw him go mano-a-mano with Tim Duncan, and Tim Duncan will always bust his ass because he tried that bullshit intimidation shit, and Tim Duncan looked at him like, man, you get the fuck out of here, bro. I'm going to bust your ass. He didn't fall for none of it. He didn't give up. He didn't ever do a favor for the defense. Garnett would shoot jump shots all the time. That's what I'm watching. I can tell you his flaws. He's up faking and like you think you Jordan with the fadeaways. No, go play a big man's game. There's no more centers in the game. I could break his game down without bringing up rings. How come all of a sudden he goes to Boston and now we got him on another level over Barkley and all that? How? Because he got traded with a bunch of all NBA dudes from his class. How does that happen? How is that different than what LeBron did in Miami and all that? I've never liked it because it proves that you're a casual at that point. You're not watching the game. You're reading stats, you're reading books, you're reading profiles, but you're not watching that game. You can't tell me where Kevin Garnett's sweet spot was at. You can't tell me where he shot from the floor the most. You're not gonna do it. And that to me is the bottom line with the ring culture shit. It just never made sense to me. It's a good way to argue. It's nice for us to argue about in the barbershop and on TV. But at the end of the day, it's been a punchline on TV that after a while, it's like, what does that even mean at the end of the day? Like, what is Stephen A. Smith is a ringleader of that now on ESPN. Bro, what are you without ESPN? You think you bigger than ESPN? No, that's why your monkey ass signed with them for another $100 million. You ain't going to Fox. You're not. You're going with the big dogs. So I've always hated it. That's not what made Michael Jordan great to me, bro. When I'm watching Michael Jordan, I hated Michael Jordan. But that come fly with me and watching Michael Jordan highlights, that shit is mad inspirational. Just watching Bobby Knight say, yo, man, he's the most athletic, most skilled, most competitive person I've ever seen in my life. Basically, all I'm saying is that that's the best basketball player I've seen in my life. At 22. Best basketball player I've seen in my life. Damn. That to me is, we talking about skills. We talking about what somebody does, a professional. He took the game seriously. And I like what y'all say. After you win a ring, is he gonna come back and win again? Because Pat Riley talked about it, the greed for more, and people lose the hunger. So to see someone like Michael Jordan make an enemy out of you and just make up beef just to inspire himself to get going for the next game, bro, he's showing you the combination of what it takes to be a sicko on that level to compete. Forget it, like the winning part, it should come with that when you're that great. And that's the part LeBron is missing. Bro, you just not competitive like that at the end of the day. You sound soft. You always been soft, if we're being real. Like, and we talking about the elites of the elites. That's why Jason Tatum. There should be no Brunson shouldn't be better than you. SGA should not be better than you. They shouldn't be in your class. But you doing a defensive favor. I'm watching your game. That's what I'm breaking down. So I don't care that Jason Tatum won a ring. We still got SGA over him, and he didn't even win a ring. How did SGA get an MVP before you? AllBall TV. They scared, but I'm not. They don't like comentario.
Y suscribe.